Beautiful ones, welcome from very chilly Melbourne, hence the reason I am in a tent blanket today. It is cold, but that is not what I'm here to have a chat about. I wanted to jump on to talk about my upcoming masterclass series, Teach with Power, and really, talk about the differences between a teacher who is in her inner authority, her power, and someone who has a lot of amazing wisdom, but it is really difficult to access it. That is one of the most frustrating experiences I've had. You know that feeling when you sign up to something, it looks incredible, the sales page is rocking, every bit of the content sounds like exactly what you want to receive. And then you come into the teaching and learning experience and the teacher is just not up to the job, right? We have all undoubtedly had this experience. I know I have, where it's like you're trying desperately to stay with them, to advocate for them, to get this wisdom that you're yearning for, but their capacity to create a powerful transformational experience is just not there. Because this is the thing, teaching is an art form, it is a skill, and it is something worth investing in and developing. The Teach with Power 4-part masterclass is covering those cornerstones of incredible transformational teaching and learning. Now, you might notice that I'm using that phrase a lot, teaching and learning experience, because one of the biggest errors we make as neophyte teachers or teachers who haven't necessarily had the investment in their own capacity to transfer knowledge is that we are obsessed with our curriculum. We are hyper focused on getting through all of the amazing content, which sidebar is usually overpacked, right? An overpacked teaching schedule is one of the biggest mistakes that teachers make. We can only receive certain amounts of information in a certain time period, and we often, out of insecurity or self-doubt or not understanding good pedagogy, will cram our curriculum so full that our students are just left in this freeze because there's just way too much going on, right? But teaching and learning is the phrase I use because we have to not be just hyper focused on our own role as a teacher. This is the curriculum. I got to get through it. This is what I've got to do. How am I doing? Am I getting through it all? And we forget about our students, right? We forget about the learning experience. So great teaching starts with thinking about how do I make this as potent a learning experience as possible. It's not about me. A great teacher gets over themselves and gets out of the way to offer that optimized learning temple for their students. And how do we do this? Well, that is all going to depend on what you're teaching and how you want to teach it, which are choices, pedagogical choices you need to make. It's not just about designing great curriculum, right? That's the easy part. But you're not writing a book. You are delivering something either live or pre-recorded or in person or online, however you do it. And so we need to think about what will take this knowledge from a purely cranial brain activity to an embodied learning experience for our students. Now, my pedagogical choice with the Institute is always the learning by doing, the embodied, immersive, experiential transfer of knowledge, right? So I will share some theory and then I will back it up with a practice or a process that will allow the student to come into an embodied ownership of that knowledge, right? So we cannot simply talk about it. We have to give the conditions for change to our students to create that incredible teaching and learning experience. So there are two parts of the equation. And in your own program design, you might get so caught up in, oh my God, knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. Curriculum is going to blow my students away, that you forget about how am I turning it from an idea into an embodied knowing for my students. So for example, if I am going to teach on the subject of the law of mentalism, all is one, as an aspect of a deep state of intuition, or what I call intuitive intelligence, that's some pretty dense theory. It's amazing. I love it. I get really excited by it all. But in order for the student to be able to know that for themselves, not just as lots of noise that they might be excited about, but not embodying, I will often ask my students to tell me the most important thing that they've heard me say. And I'll do that, say, after 2 or 3 minutes of sharing some dense theory. I will ask a number of the students to repeat back to me or to share with me what's the most important thing that I've heard. Now, this is incredibly useful for you as a teacher, because not only are you allowing the student to embody what they have been receiving, you are also hearing what is really landing. What of what I have thought was important are they feeling connected to? So that is an incredibly useful tool to use. And another tip that I highly recommend is that you back up the theory with a praxis, right? I am teaching you that all is one, all is of the one mind. Now I'm going to take you through an experience, a practice that will allow you to feel that and know that in your own body. So we cannot just be throwing lots and lots of words at our students, no matter how compelling and exciting they are, if we want their transformation to last after the class is over, right? We've all studied amazing things that we forget about as soon as we get back into real life, because there's no application. It's not applied knowledge. And applied knowledge is what turns it from a theoretical exercise into a life-changing transformational experience. They're a couple of my top tips on how to become a truly powerful and transformational teacher, but I have so much more. So I got my notes over here. I'm just going to have a little look at my screen and tell you what is coming up with the Teach with Power Masterclass series. Our first masterclass is developing your skills as a spiritual teacher. Because, of course, when we are teaching not algebra, but say quantum physics, intuition development, when we're teaching in a spiritual context, there are aspects to creating that learning temple that go way beyond the physical realm. So we talk a lot about the energetic container and how we can draw upon the archetypal energies to ensure that we're setting our students up for success. Our second masterclass is Mastering the Art of Teaching Spiritual Content. And again, not looking at, we're not teaching primary school kids, we are teaching sacred knowledge. And how do we honor that? How do we behave ethically with that? How do we consider things like intersectionality, diversity and inclusion? How do we honor lineage and ensure that we are really taking responsibility for the knowledge that we're transferring? There's a lot more in this one, but that's a high level understanding. Let me see what else I got here. Then we have designing programs that actually work. So I've touched on this a little bit, this idea that we can get so caught up in our curriculum that we forget about creating transformation for the learning experience of our students. And so we'll really focus on program design that creates that life-changing, after the class finishes, transformation that will ensure that people keep coming back to you as the teacher. And the final masterclass is elevating your impact as a spiritual leader. Because of course, a teacher is a leader, right? Again, we've been in classrooms where the teacher is not in charge energetically or in any other way, and it can leave us in an incredible sense of deficit. We've paid for something, we get into it, we know that there was a shiny sales page, that there was lots of great hype around it, but the delivery does not match the quality of what we were promised. And that is not good enough, right? We need to ensure that we can show up in a way that will be a match for this beautiful curriculum and all of the things that we've promised that the student will receive. Being a leader is about being unafraid of our own power to set that energetic set point that will create the conditions for transformational learning. And this is a really big one for me, because everything I teach in the Institute is about increasing spiritual self-esteem or spiritual fierceness, that inner authority to lead. it is often compromised within us. And even in the idea of spirituality, meaning that we can't be in our authority, we can't be strong, compelling leaders, and nothing could be further from the truth. Our ability to be in our power, not power over, but empowering by being the demonstration of power, is what will allow us to feel safe to embody our leadership. These masterclasses are very, very well priced. There's so much value. If you are a spiritual teacher or you're spiritual teacher curious and you want to develop this archetype in your own life, these are a beautiful taster. They will give you so many of my trade secrets. I have been a teacher for decades. I have been an academic. I am a trained actor. I have spent a lot of time thinking about the ways that we can create compelling teaching and learning experiences, not just the what, but the how, the form, the way we're embodied, our own relationship to ourselves, the way we use our voice, the way we use our presence, the way that we set the stage, everything from the way that you are framing or staging your teaching and learning experience to the smallest details of how you dress, ways in which you can challenge without losing a student, taking safe risks, taking bold leaps in faith. There's really just so much in this. Teach with power. Masterclass series is essential, unmissable professional development for those who are either well and truly in this spiritual teacher world or yearning to become more empowered as a spiritual teacher. There is so much gold in this. I am so excited to begin. We kick off on June 30 and there are 4 masterclasses. You can take one or you can take all of them. There are some great bonuses if you want to take all 4. Of course, you will get lifelong access to the masterclass series. If you cannot attend live, that's no biggie. You will enjoy the training just as much, and hopefully, undoubtedly, you will come back to it again and again. It is knowledge that we must have at the foundation of creating our teaching and learning temple. And I am here for it. So beautiful ones. Hit me up with any questions. I will make sure that the information is here for you. You can comment, teach, and I will send you all of the information so that you can join our masterclass series. So much love. I'm sitting really far away from the camera, so I'm going to get closer and I will say goodbye now. Bye.